Now, anytime I'm working on a bike, polishing and cleaning, I try to keep track of this picture. I keep this picture on the shop wall. Now, I know this is pretty funny to people that don't have this issue. We had a windstorm go through here. The last couple of days, the wind's been howling, and this was in my neighbor's yard. So I got a phone call this morning, come get your umbrella. And it's busted up, I gotta fix it. I was not happy about that, that's for sure. Now, shame on me. I knew the wind was blowing, things are blowing around, and I thought it would be okay. Well, shame on me, the horse was out of the barn before I realized it. Anyway, I've got to work on this morning and then get back to flipping chargers and see what we can do here today. Maybe get that back wheel done or something, I don't know. But the wind is still blowing a little bit. Now, whenever the wind is blowing, two things happen, of course. I should know better than to, should have tied it up. That would have been a saving, but anyway, the last couple of days I've been doing preventive maintenance, and I'm thinking, yeah, on motorcycles, but I'm not doing preventive maintenance on other things around here. So, shame on me. So one of the things Rob told me, tomorrow he has time available, and I've been waiting for, I don't know why, I've been waiting for a day that Rob and I could ride together, and as a way of christening the new bike. Not sure if that's going to happen because the weather still is not cooperating the way it should. I've been trying to wait for a really nice day. And I don't want to have a repeat performance of first day out with a new bike and I've got to repaint it. That was a terrible thing last year. And nobody to blame but myself. And we've used the time really effectively to do some maintenance. I normally would not have had the time to do this. This Evil Twin project was supposed to start next year, but I've learned a lot, and I'm trying to share what I've learned and what I do. And I have one other thing today I wanted to try. Now, I don't know, I've got to do that umbrella first because that's in my way. This chrome part that's pitted, and I've polished it and polished it and polished it, and probably a lot of people would not be unhappy with that. I understand that, but since these are my children and my gefilte fishes, I was hoping, I called up the place. I used to have a place that would do chrome plating for me as long as I wasn't in a rush for it, and I called them up yesterday, and they're out of business. They're dead in the water. So I have to wait to hear from Dave Midgley if he has a source. He used to have a place, and I don't know if he still does, that would do chrome plating. That's actually the only part. Now, I had thought in my wildest dream that at some point in time I'd be willing to invest the time and the money in getting the exhaust on both sides, the two head pipes, the two mufflers, re-chromed. And you know, when I did a little bit of basic research, and Luciano had some parts chromed by a fella in Teaneck, and to chrome a couple little do's and don'ts and a Kickstarter was $100. I just thought, well, how much can an exhaust system be? And the point is, I polish it up, and maybe I don't want it to be exactly like that unless the price is reasonable. And the fact that the price is unreasonable for a lot of reasons that I'm sure the EPA has something to do with it, the chemicals and the pollution, but there are still a few places around, but boy, are they picky and choosy and pricey. So I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. But I did have, and I wanted to share this, I did have a little thing I wanted to try today. I'm not sure this is even going to put a dent in it, but there's a couple of videos on YouTube of guys that have really pitted stuff. And what they do is they take aluminum foil and rub it with aluminum foil. And what happens, in the little valleys and pits, it fills up with soft aluminum, just makes it look a little better. I'm going to try that later today. That'll be one thing I can try. And I want to do some cleanup on that back wheel. But this is the big one, and this is such a pain in the neck when it's all bent. I don't know how much time, I'm not going to even put this on video, but this is a major thing. I think you can see all the crap that's in the pond at the bottom. Oh, that's going to be a big job to get that clean today. All it takes is one windstorm and you have a couple of days of work when you have a pond. It's unbelievable. But anyway, we do love our fish. Time to feed them. After any windstorm, of course, you have the same scenario. you have, I guess if you have a swimming pool, you have the same thing. You have this endless amount of goop, and then I have to rake it up and scoop it up before it blows back into the pond. But I do love having this pond. And I have said many times the pond keeps you young because you can't ever sit in a lazy boy when you have a pond. There's always something to clean or something. It's like an old motorcycle. It actually is. It keeps you young. Well, what happened to me? What the hell happened to me? It's pretty cool. I chain lubed all the joints while I was bending everything back. It looks like it's going to be okay. The maintenance on an old house with old motorcycles and an old body, and the only thing we have new is a new cup of coffee. Did you take a little taste yet?
Of course.
And what is this?
This is burger beef soup.
Ooh. Ooh.
Or beefy burger soup.
Ooh.
Look how
looks
thick it
good.
is. This is quite a meal.
No wonder I'm gaining weight. Now Karen just yelled out to me that it's supposed to get real windy this afternoon too. A nice day, but windy, cold and windy. Well, that shows you how smart I am. I think I'll tie the umbrella up rather than go fetch it out of the neighbor's yard again. See, so you can see I'm a lot smarter than you might think I am. It only takes me one broken umbrella to figure this out, or one time you run out of gas and you learn not to run it to the bottom of the tank. So this is funny, while Karen and I were having a coffee break, my neighbors who have a really intensive garden over there with vegetables, the hedgehog walked right across, and I didn't have the camera available. I was cleaning the pond, and he walked back. He apparently lives under Mike's garage. But I bet any money what he was saying is, come on Wendy, there's still a couple of rusty parts on that bike. Clean it up. Finish that back wheel if nothing else. It's uncanny. There's just no end to the maintenance on an old house, I always laugh about it. Old motorcycles, old houses. No wonder nobody wants these old bikes except me. I gotta get a picture of that hedgehog. He's gigantic. I've seen him a couple of times. So I got all the maintenance done, but some truth in advertising. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and in my mind I have this set, but I don't know what the ratio really is, of how many of them. I try to divide them up into how many videos I've watched that they have some useful, positive information. And I would say, in my opinion, the majority of them have something that I've learned from. And when I learn it and I prove it to myself, I try to pass it on. Then there's some that, marginal, I don't know. In other words, everybody's got different taste. I've seen some videos of people that restore old paint in different ways, and they're real happy with the result, but I wouldn't be. And then there's always some things that I tried them, like the commercials on TV. I try them, and to me, they don't work at all. So I'm trying to show this really up close. You can see the little pits. Now, where that pit is, it's a little valley, and there's a lot of ways you could probably make this better. You could take the buffing wheel and buff all the chrome off so you were just buffing metal and then maybe clear coat it. I don't know. I'm still waiting to see if Dave Midgley has some source for getting this re-chromed. But the goal today is just to try this thing that I saw on YouTube of taking aluminum foil. Now, aluminum foil is really soft aluminum. There's no alloys in it. And what the guy did, and it looked like it worked pretty good, by rubbing this over and over and over, and it doesn't really say how long he did it, what happens, the pits get full of aluminum, and then instead of being brown, they're silver, and maybe they look a little bit better. So rather than poo-poo it, the best thing I always do is try it myself. Now, if it shows any promise at all, of course, what I'd like to do in a perfect world, find somebody who is an expert triple chrome plater, and I know they don't like to do two-stroke mufflers because it messes up their tank, but as time has gone by, I realized I'm not going to be able to buy a replacement exhaust for this, And the other one is going to be in the $300 range just to get it plated. So they're pricing me out of the market here. So what I always try to do before I even improvise on somebody else's technology, this is an ordinary piece of tin foil I got from Karen. She's cooking away and baking, and usually aluminum has two sides. It has a shiny side, a dull side. I have no idea why. Somebody that's more high-tech than I am might know that. Now, I'm going to try this. I don't know, and because this may be the same thing as polishing with toothpaste, that it just takes a lot of material off, but I thought it's willing to give it a try. And the point is, I don't think this will make it worse, because no matter what, I have tried Flitz, and of course the Flitz just protects it. I've tried every compound I have on this with mixed results. It makes it better, but obviously it's not going to make it like a new chroming job. Now what I should have done is kept track of how long you were supposed to buff this. I also thought of another thing, see, in my evil ways, of making a little buffing pad where you could put some tin foil on it. Because remember, this is just soft aluminum. And maybe this does. Maybe it makes it a little bit better. To be honest, it looks like it is. It's masking the little divots in there. And, which is fine. It's better. If I can improve it, see, what a lot of people don't realize, they always want to do everything like it's brand new. Well, a brand new paint job, you got to, like this headlight has brand new paint. You got to strip it down to bare metal and go through the process and buff it. But if sometimes, like, and I've made a video on the GS, how I restored the old paint, well, it wasn't that big of a deal. Now I can feel it. This is going into the little pits. This looks like it might have some promise. I don't know. And I certainly, one thing at least from this, it's not going to make it any worse, that's for sure. But it does, you know, it actually does fill the pits. I don't know. Now around here, I know because I've tried to polish this part so many times. So I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, this definitely makes it better. And I can see the difference because I'm under fluorescent lights right now. And out in the sun, it'll look even better. Sunlight, it always looks better than under fluorescence, but that certainly looks like it. To be honest, you never know when you're going to stumble. I call it stumbling upon something. Now, I didn't even keep track of if it made any difference if you did the shiny side. Maybe one of our friends that's a lot smarter than I am. Kevin Cameron. I ought to call Kevin Cameron up and ask him. He owes me a favor. Oh, anyway, here we go. Look at this. I'm not sure. It definitely, you know what? It definitely fills the pits. And it looks like it leaves a little bit of a coating. Now I'm going to try to just take some ordinary polish and polish over this, because we have now, it's actually smoother. We've now put the aluminum down into the little pits. So I don't know. It's better, but I don't know if this is going to be, this is one of those things where time will tell. Well, the final result is, being honest, I think that did make an improvement. But again, the jury's out. Now I have, because I'm thinking one step ahead here, I'm thinking to myself, if you had a really, really rusty part and you could get rid of the rust with deep pit, that would definitely make it better. Now, I don't have such a part to test it on, even on one of the bikes, because I don't let them get that rusty. But I think the worse the part is, the better that would be. Now, in this case, this part is not terrible to begin with, so we really can't make a giant improvement. It's just like, well, there's math involved. We're probably at, that part is probably 80%. If I re-chrome, it'll be 100. But maybe somebody in the country has a chrome plating place in their cellar or something. Now, Freddie Anderson used to do his own chrome plating, because he said and Ray had told me this, when he sent stuff out nowadays, they don't do the real chrome plating. They can't use all the chemicals of the good old days. Maybe that's true. Now, after a nice cup of coffee on the porch, boy, the temperature's warming right up today. I think tomorrow's going to be a great riding day. Be good to get a ride with Rob if he's available. And I love the fact that our healthcare workers signed And one of the things you have to be aware of, that if you're into this kind of stuff, when I work, I always try to work under fluorescent lights. It shows every little flaw, especially paintwork. Well, when I'm polishing something, I want to polish it under fluorescent light, but then look at it out in the sun. And it does look like that aluminum did make it look a little bit better. I mean, how much better it's going to look unless you replate it, I don't know. Again, these things are stopgaps just to make things look a little bit better. And I think, I'm looking around because I'm hoping there was something that, you know, maybe I can polish this little part here and just see if that'll make some of the rust get better. And I can do it right now. Now that is a part I tried to polish many times with mixed results. Let's just see. The nice thing about this is it doesn't cost you a penny. And now, I don't want anybody to ever get the idea that I'm a cheap person. I'm parsimonious. The truth is, I really don't like to spend money on things that I can do myself. I much prefer getting the exercise, and but some people don't. I understand that. You know, believe it or not, this made it a lot better. Wow. You know what it did? It took the rust itself right off. It's almost like using it like sandpaper. I'm very surprised. I'm shocked, in fact. I'm going to show this in a close-up. This one, it works. See, now, because this one was really rusty, it's going to tend to work better than the other one is just pitted. That's a ton better. Let me show it with a close-up. Well, there's a part that had visible rust on it. The aluminum took the visible rust off. Actually, now would be the time, just right now, put a coat of Flitz on that so it doesn't rust again. That was, well, see, every part, there's parts that are going to get better, I think, when you have visible rust like that. And that's why, you know, you could watch the other videos on YouTube, people showing how to do this. I think the one I watched that was the most impressive, somebody was doing a wheel with the spokes. Now that's a hard thing to polish, but that would be if you have a rusty spokes on a wheel. Again, you got to do a little experimenting on your own. Now what happens to any of the RD discs, and I've drilled the discs. So when I bought the bike, and you know what I just discovered the other day, one of the pictures I have of the bike the day I bought it, I'll have to show that somewhere on this video, but it only had one brake disc drilled, and I drilled the other one, and boy, what a job this was. But you see what happens as time goes by, it gets a little ratty. Well, I have a little cure for that too that I'll share. Those the little things we just bought off Amazon, and they seem to work real good at this. Obviously, when you're done, you want to clean the brake with brake part cleaner. You don't want to have the compound on the brakes. But this certainly only takes a second or two. Actually, you do a whole wheel in about 2 minutes. And it's just one of those little details that hard to believe how easy it is to do some of these things. That aluminum foil thing, I'm going to look for more things to do. I know it's not a perfect solution to problems, but it's certainly, there's some things you can use it on for sure. Now this is just a matter of less than a minute to turn that, and I've only done, I wanted to show as I'm doing it, to turn that into that, and that's one more little detail. When I do the whole wheel, I have to move the bike forward so I can get behind there. One more little detail. Every time I can detail something out, well, I'm just, especially during this virus when I got to sit here landlocked. But that's one of the most cost-effective little updates I've done. And now having this little tool, and we bought these off Amazon, we did a dedicated, and you see they wear out at some point in time. That's why you get a box of 80 for $10 or whatever you get. And now I can go over that with some brake part cleaner, clean it all up, and move on to the next part. But that certainly was very cost effective in terms of time, and the little bit that looks just a whole lot better. And when I think of all the time I do detailing this, and of course it's all subjective, to some people it wouldn't be worth doing any of this. But for me, every time I add a little detail, polish a little part, make something a little cleaner, a a little newer, a little better, a little safer. There's a certain amount of joy I get from it. Now, taking care of that this morning, that was a free bonus. I didn't even expect to do that. It just turned out that way. The aluminum foil looks like there's other spots on this, maybe on the back of the muffler, but Karen wants to walk. That's one of her things to do today, so I'm not sure we're going to get much more done. But every time we do one little detail on this, I just think we're one step further to preserving this motorcycle, and as I always say, for the rest of my life. Now, anytime I'm working on a bike, polishing and cleaning, I try to keep track of this picture. I keep this picture on the shop wall. This is the day Luciano and I picked up the bike, and boy, oh boy, it doesn't look that bad in person. The tank is all chewed up, and I do remember, boy, it did not suffer from over maintenance, that's for sure. And you can see all the engine parts that weren't polished and all of the things. The wheels weren't painted. It was a lot of work. It was a labor of love. But somewhere on the video, I'll put like a before and after if I remember. Turbo Steve likes these before and afters. And this is a very old picture of what evolved. This actually is the bike that I restored for Ray with the number plate still on, 157. That's my magic number. Who knew I'd be this famous? Oh my God, we have fun. We love these RDs. I don't know why. And this is for Dallas. Dallas, I may never have shared this picture with you. I don't know. My Air Coupe, 2833 Hotel. This was in Harrisburg. And thanks to Chuck Holtzapple, we have this picture that will live in... Look at the hairdo I had back there. I guess I was going to a hippie party. And some pictures of my father. My father was in the Ken Butler Thrill Show for many, many years. Here we are with him doing his thing on the thrill bike. Ken Butler Thrill Show. The Suicide Legion. And I have his driver's license from 1938, 28, I can't even read it. Eddie Ertnowski, my dad. This is one of the pictures we have of the bike after it was restored, and it was in absolute pristine condition. I had it in my custody for a while before Ray picked it up, and Ray still has it. He's won every bike show he's entered in Florida. And he always sends me the trophies, and I ran out of places to put the trophies here. We're turning into a trophy hound. But he seems to win that class every year. And who could have ever dreamed it? When I bought this bike back then, I don't know how many years ago, 9,000 miles ago, who could have ever predicted how this would have gone? It played out so well. The next thing I want to do is I want to spend some time, 2000 grit sandpaper, and buffing out that back wheel as many places as I can get with the little Dremel tool. See how much I can get done today. And the only problem with this whole situation with the back wheel, it's very difficult to get in here even with that little tool, with the little Dremel tool. But the little Dremel tool gets in a lot better than, well, we're going to find out. Since we haven't really pushed this to the limit yet. But I'm just trying to see. Yeah, it comes right up. When it's old paint like this, you almost have no issue ever that it's going to be a problem. It'll always come up. Now that I said that, it probably won't come up. So what we'll do, we'll try a little mother's polish on this and see how this works out. This usually works much better at a lower speed if you're just patient. When the wheel is new. Now the nice thing about doing it outside, the fuzz that normally comes off of this will just simply blow away. When we're inside the garage, you wind up a big pile of dust on the floor. So let's see if this is going to work. And I have found that speed 2 and speed 3 just seem to be. It takes a little longer. Well, I'm on 2 now, but speed 3. Yeah, 3 turns everything into powder. So probably 2.5 would be the best on this. But I have found that this does a really good job of polishing it up. We're going to find out in a minute or so. Now the front wheel's already done. I should be able to have time here before Karen and I go for our walk if I can get this done, I get the back wheel done, boy, I'll be so happy. And looking at that picture of the bike when I first bought it, and then looking at it now, oh my God, it's like night and day. I wonder if Karen looks at pictures of me when I was younger and says, look how great he was when he was young, and look at what an old geezer he turned out to be. Hey, this is really coming up good. I'm impressed. Wow. I am really impressed. Let me just turn this up. Now, of course, as always, I want to show it in real time, so let me get a rag. I want to show this without a camera cut because this is usually pretty interesting to some people. Yeah, that did work out pretty good. You know, a bigger tool than that would be impossible to get down in there. Oh my God, it looks good. Let me do this without a camera cut. Maintain our integrity here. Let's see if you can see that. And that went relatively quick. And the last thing on this is to do the same thing we did to the front wheel. Only a few minutes. This really makes a nice little touch. As opposed to, well, you can figure it out yourself, I'm sure. Oh, that's just coming out so nice. I do get a lot of joy out of cleaning up a bike, making it as nice as I possibly can be. But now it's time, and Karen and I, of course, we have a little exercise program. We try to walk about an hour through our beautiful town, and right now she's ready to go. So we're going to take a little break from polishing. So here we are in the middle of Rutherford, and we have our own private Easter Bunny concert here. Bunny in a boat. Are you really Santa Claus?
Hopping down the bunny trail.
This Rutherford is a tough place to live, huh? I hear the birds in the trees. I don't know, baby. We're on these nice long... Oh, there he is again. That's Butch.
Where is he?
Well, the last thing I wanted to do today is get this back wheel from this side. See, I've already done the spokes from the other side, and I'm trying to do it in the sunlight and get them from this side. And I think we'll have a really productive day behind us. Now, it's always easy to get everything on that side of the wheel, but it's hard to get this side from this place. So this is where having this little tool comes in handy, as opposed to a big heavy tool. You can get right in corners and angles and edges, which makes it definitely a usable tool. Now, everybody who has one of these knows that it's very difficult to get in all these little nooks and crannies in the wheel. This is just an ordinary paintbrush because I need that point to get down in that little spot of the wheel where you really can't get your fingers and get in all these little nooks and crannies. And if you do this once every so often, it stays clean for a long time. And if you don't do it, sooner or later it just turns into something very undesirable. I don't know how to say it in a nice way. But that is a good tip. That's definitely a good tip to be able to get down in there. That makes it a lot easier. And you can use that on a lot of things. And all it really is, just to show it, just an ordinary paintbrush, and what I did, I put a little bit of silicone on the end of it so it was soft, it wouldn't scratch. Put a little bit, or hot glue, silicone, anything, and then you can get down in all those little nooks and crannies. Well, I spent a lot of time today polishing. I hope you've picked up some good tips, and needless to say, anytime I put into the RD, I always feel it's a good investment. If you could buy one of these brand new, it'd be wonderful, but you can't, so this is the only alternative I have. Anyway, we're looking forward to tomorrow. We worked right to the long shadows of the day here. The day is over, and tomorrow is supposed to be a nice riding day, so I'm hoping I can get together with Rob tomorrow. We'll see how the day goes. You never know how the day's going to go, and you never know what's coming down the tracks. All I see is a headlight. Anyway, and I hope we're all healthy. Thank you to the healthcare workers, and thank you for watching.